Aaron Carter's gay. All right, Masco and Geek, number 284, take 2. So this is not going to be movie night unless you watch the movie yourself, which I probably will later. We got our stream canceled by YouTube because it's copyrighted content, even though it's a members-only stream. So, whoops.
I can't have any fun.
Apparently not.
In the words of Klaus, you shall not have fun and you will like it.
Apparently, yeah. Sons of bitches. Let's play some background music. You out there, Mectibus? Is this broadcast actually live?
Let me go back. Check on YouTube. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
All right, cool. God damn it. What a pain in the arse.
Let me drop a like. There you go. Now you got a like.
No, thank you.
You need one like only. One like only, please.
Yeah. Fucking YouTube. Anyway. How is everyone doing otherwise?
All right.
Fantastic. Slowly chipping away at my need to get done shit.
That's always good. Yeah, I've been doing some. I'm off all week, and I don't go back to work until the 10th. So I'm just getting some stuff done around the house, getting some writing done, and finalizing the edits on the anthology so I can get that formatted and ready to go for Christmas, like a pre-Christmas pre-order. So,
dude, the hardest thing in the whole entire book project that I was a part of so far was the fucking cover.
Really?
Yeah, KDP and covers is not fun. Like me and Thor spent like 2 hours fucking around with it.
Yeah, it really depends on the line height of your sentences versus the size of your cover versus the spine and the it's a huge pain in the ass. I'm sure when I go to upload it, it's gonna crack out. So,
and then making sure that everything was like formatted just right with like chapters start all on the right hand page with our name, making sure all that was lined up right, making sure we had it in the fucking 4.5 inch wide. Oh, it was a nightmare.
Keep it out of the gutter. Yeah, that's why I hired somebody for that. I'm not dealing with that internal formatting. Like that's a huge pain in the ass.
Well, now that I got it down, so like next book I write for this project, I have the formatting down, and then if I ever write another book on my own, I'll keep it in a 8.5 by 5.5 format.
Yeah, that's what ours is. So, well, that took the wind out of our sails. God, I was looking forward to watching that too. It's funny. There's after Arthur pulls the sword out of the stone, and there's an attack on one of the castles. You see Arthur riding up on his horse to the castle, and then you see coming around the side his body double carrying a sword. So you see the two Arthurs. You see the stunt double, and then you see him on the sword or on the horse. It's pretty funny. It once you see it, it's like it becomes very, very obvious.
You can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it. Now you're like, oh, fine. You go back and watch it again, rewind on the videotape. We're out in Gettysburg. We can watch it.
Looks like I haven't ordered my flight yet because I got to talk with HUDs and stuff. But it looks like flight prices are holding. I can get there for about $180 round trip on a name brand plane, not a Cappy Airlines.
Okay, when you're ready to do that, get with me so we can coordinate between your arrival and TJ's. So you're either flying into an airport close to Gettysburg, or you're flying into Philadelphia at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least when we leave, like if you want to come in on Tuesday and you and TJ can stay here at my place, or you can fly in on Wednesday morning so we can pick you up and just head right to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And then you fly out on Sunday.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it's fairly cheap to fly from DFW to Philly.
Okay. Not so for TJ. It's cheapish.
I'm honestly surprised TJ State doesn't charge a surcharge to leave.
Oh, they probably do now. TJ, you're muted.
Yeah, man. It's like depending on what the outcome of the election is in November in my state, I'm like, might sell the house, buy an RV trailer, hitch it to my SUV or a little tiny home, and get the hell out.
Isn't Sideshow Bob running for governor?
Yes.
Sideshow Bob.
Apparently you listen to Ari Hoffman.
I did. I lived there for 10 years.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot.
I'm fairly familiar with Sideshow Bob and the fucking bullshit that man pulls.
Oh, the stuff that I don't write about, but I just know about because it's not enough to make a story. But I'm like, if he gets in, it's East Germany. This state will be East Germany. So
Jesus.
You also got the bullshit that Kim Wyman pulled in the 2016 election. That's why I don't trust Republicans at all up in there.
Well, she also did shit in the 2020 election.
Well, it's like, so 2016, I was full on Gary Johnson, like doorbelling and everything, get him on the ballot. Washington state law for the last 20 years, precedence was, hey, if you get 5% of the vote, you get election perks. He got 5.05% of the vote. Yeah. So I was like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, no, that's not how the law is written. We're going to include the write-ins too. So it dropped him to like 4.99%.
Yeah.
Just keep the third party off.
As if Trump was going to win Washington State.
Well, it was a colluded effort between the Republicans and Democrats to keep the Libertarians from instant ballot access. Was part of the perks.
Yeah.
Keep the third party down.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
And then this year, the Libertarians nominate a freaking PDF file.
Yeah, I mean, if Hans Hermann Hoppe
file.
I'm trying to. It's for the algorithm, man. Like YouTube doesn't like you using the word. So.
Oh.
Or faggot.
No. Pedophile.
Oh, okay.
So it's PDF file, and then for the PDF Rainbow F.
He's a PDF file.
I like it.
And then I'm bringing back for the Rainbow F-bomb word that you just used. I'm going to call everyone a MiG-15 because the NATO designation name for the MiG-15 is
fake
F-bomb. The Rainbow
F-bomb.
That's funny.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. So quit being a Rainbow or quit being a MiG-15.
I like it.
I'm gonna have to use that on someone. I'm gonna say stop being a MiG-15.
What does that mean? They look up.
Yeah.
So does that make Cappy the MiG-15 of podcasters?
Yes, it does.
Probably.
I don't think he's going to be podcasting for a whole lot longer.
What do you do now?
Well, just like he was talking about how he wanted to kind of... Well, okay. I got to remember, this is Cappy. He's like a lot of men I know. They say things that they want, and they never do it. He's talked about wanting to like semi-retire. Problem is, what is he going to do with his free time?
Charge his girlfriend more rent.
Apparently, you know more. You know more about him than I thought you did.
I've been in this space for 3 years. I've been following you guys for 3 years.
Okay,
so
it's funny. Yeah, which is funny because you know what?
That's the whole being in inner circles of inner circles. I know stuff that I'm not supposed to know, and I just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. PDF file. I love that. I'll have to use that. Funny. Like, hey, this guy, he's a PDF file. What's that?
Think about it.
Jeffrey Epstein would have loved him. We'll put it that way.
Diddy would have loved it too.
No, man, that's gonna be some crazy shit when that whole thing comes out.
Well, you see who his cellmate is, right?
Who?
SBF. Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX scammer.
Oh, joy. And he's like, so they drop it's like that scene from The Dark Knight where they're
both going to suicide themselves.
Yeah, it's like, which one of you? Hey, make it quick. We're gonna do tryouts, but there's only a spot for one, you know. And then he breaks the what is it called? Full queue, right? Breaks it and hands it to him and goes, "Make it quick."
I forgot about the scene.
We're gonna do tryouts.
That whole entire trilogy was actually really good.
I gotta say though,
the original three, yeah.
I feel like
the Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, and Dark Knight Returns, or whatever.
I gotta be honest.
Those two, yeah.
If I had been, I mean, I remember thinking about this when I was watching the final film, and if I had been an advisor for the film or a scriptwriter, I said, "Hey, Nolan, you have the cops fighting Bane in the final battle. That needs to be the people of Gotham, because the entire thesis of the whole film trilogy is that Gotham is worth saving and the people are worth protecting. And instead you have the cops do it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You need to have the civilians go out and fight. Like, they're good movies. I enjoy them. They're not bad, but like, he would have really, that was what I was thinking was going to happen in that film, where Bane reveals the truth and the people of Gotham go, you know what? We are willing to accept the truth and we want our city back and we're willing to fight and die for it. And they'd be proving Bruce Wayne's thesis correct, that he says, you know, the city is worth saving. Having the cops fight kind of evades that question. And it's really, I mean, other people have noted this. We're like, it's kind of fascinating. Like, was the League of Shadows right in that sense? And I would say, no, you know, we're dealing with that situation in Seattle right now, where there's people who are like, you know what, this city is worth saving, and we're fighting for it, and we care about the city. And
like Phoenix Jones.
No, I'm thinking more of like We Heart Seattle, who the head of it is now running for state legislature, and the council is slowly like ridded itself of the crazies like Kishama Sawant.
Oh, she's gone. Oh, thank God,
dude. She stepped down. Like I don't know if she read the writing on the wall or what happened, but she stepped down. A whole bunch of people stepped out, and the city is. I think the problem is like it's a reconquista where it's going to take time. It's just going to take time. It's going to take time for stuff to turn around, because there's been so many bad policies. The other problem is so many people have left the state who, you know, would have opposed it, or would have, like, you know, this is one of the problems where you reach a tipping point where people like myself at some point just start leaving, and you end up with California, you know?
Yeah.
So
I got lucky. I got out in 2019, like right before Beer Bug and all that shit started.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I could go back into a time machine, go back in time and like talk to myself, I'd say, hey, like, sell what you got and get the hell out and go. Yeah, like Rome, you know, Colosseum's worth saving, but the people might be shit. I would have probably left then, but I mean, it's a hindsight 2020 thing. There's stuff you just don't think about.
Yeah, like I do miss the views from Washington, because like where I lived in Bremerton at the time, and actually East Bremerton. So I'd be going to work at night at my last job up there, driving to Seattle. I'd be crossing the Warren Avenue Bridge, and you look kind of straight ahead, maybe 11 o'clock. I could see Rainier. If I look like 3 o'clock, I could see Mount Olympus just like perfectly.
Yeah, there was where I grew up in Bellevue. There was one very specific intersection where you could look either to your left or right, or sorry, ahead of you or behind you. There's a mountain range, and it's it, it's difficult for a guy like me who grew up, who was born, raised here. I have long family ties here. Leaving it is like, okay, what now? Like, I've looked at different parts of the country. I've looked at Kansas City. I've looked at New Hampshire. I've looked at even northern Idaho or West Virginia. It's like,
yeah,
like the biggest question I would ask myself and for a lot of people is, are you going to feel a sense of belonging wherever you are? Wherever you're going, are you going to feel a sense of belonging? And if you're not going to feel a sense of belonging anywhere you go, that's where you buy the RV trailer and hitch it to your SUV and just admit that you're just going to be a wanderer for the rest of your life. And I'm not saying that applies to everybody, but like, that's where you kind of have these somber conversations about just acknowledging, like, I'll be here for a while, but then there's going to be a day where I got to go. Well, selling a house and getting rid of all your shit and having to move, that's a completely different thing from saying, hey, like I got a neighbor who owns the warehouse behind me. There's no house there, but he's got an RV trailer, kind of like what I just described. He lives in Alaska during the spring, summer, and then he goes down to Arizona during the winter. And he goes, yeah, like if I want to leave, it's like an hour, 2-hour cleanup of everything, and I'm gone, and I don't really have to explain anything. I don't have to fill out paperwork. I'm at like some RV campsite, and if I want to go drive somewhere, I got my car. But if I don't want to be there anymore, it's not a big deal to pack up and move. And so I think for some people, I was kind of talking about this with our chat with Jack Donovan, but like this idea of, okay, it's time to go. Well, if that's happening really frequently, owning a home is probably not a good idea. And that's where, at least for now, I'm thinking like where, or you can go someplace and kind of get a feel for it and decide, do you want to buy a house there?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in New England, so New Hampshire, especially, the White Mountains, especially if you get in the Franconia Notch area, it is very reminiscent of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
It's like the most craggy area of the Appalachians.
Yeah. That's why I looked at like New Hampshire and like, especially the parts of New England where it's all very small, relatively speaking. I mean, Washington State probably dwarfs.
Oh, yeah.
So like you can go to Vermont and go to New Hampshire.
That's where I grew up, was Vermont, in a town of less than 1,000 people.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of my possibilities. But man, I've been looking at the housing prices in New Hampshire, and they've been going up despite interest rates.
Well, it's because New Hampshire is the only New England state without an income tax and without a sales tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do have a small capital gains tax on like stocks and stuff. And then their property tax actually isn't that bad, surprisingly, for a state with no sale tax or income tax.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of trying to like come to terms, I'm a childless bachelor, and at some point I'm like, okay, after a certain age, it's like trying to be realistic about, are you giving up on like having a family? Well, great. I don't need a house as big as the one I have. It's not.
That's what I'm going through right now. Like, I'm in the process of selling this place.
Yeah, it's kind of the problem is the moment you give up on that shit is the moment that some girl comes into your life and is like, I gotta have him, That's like the moment you stop. This has kind of been my observation. People who don't want to get married are the ones getting married. Like if you're actively trying to get married, you're trying to clean the Aegean stable. But because I know so many guys were like, I have all these kids and I'm married. Like, how did this happen? I'm like, how many steps did you have to go through in order to get married? But it's because they're just going through the motions, and the girl, the female, is doing the proactive work, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just have to just do the bare minimum. So, but I had this argument with the guy. I go, look, man, you're wondering why certain guys aren't married. It's because they have a plan for their life, and women today want to be the ones who are planning everything. When they meet a guy who's got a plan for his life, or is at least actively conscientious about what he's doing, they don't want to be a part of his life because he's active and not passive. You broads all want to marry guys who don't have a plan, so it's not going to interfere with your plans. You know?
Yeah.
That's like it's very cynical, but it's like I'm looking at all these guys I know who are so passive aggressive. It's like I can't believe it. Like, how did you get married? And then I realized they married women who already had a plan in place, and all they had to do was just comply.
Yeah, it's like I'm in a similar situation, being a childless bachelor, and it's like I would love to have kids, but the way things are right now, I'm gonna postpone that. Yeah, I sound like a woman there. At the same time, the book project with Thor is a way to, whether I have kids or not, submit my legacy. Like, I will pass information on to the next generation.
1 second.
Today on TJ Takes a Phone Call Live.
Must be a breaking story.
All right.
Sideshow Bob's under arrest. Sideshow Bob was at Diddy's.
Aren't they all?
Pizzagate is real.
Yeah. We all had a feeling.
Yeah, especially after Miss HRC's comments this week. I'm the most innocent woman out there.
Yeah, okay.
Innocent people don't say that shit.
Mm-hmm. That's the first thing a guilty person would say, that
it wasn't me
about their guilt. Yeah. Itchy eyes. But allergies apparently. Oh crap! Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm tired today.
Sounded.
Yeah. Went to bed late last night and got up early.
I noticed you were up late last night because I'm like sitting there at work by myself flying solo, and it's just like seeing Vince post. I'm like, what the fuck is Vince doing up this late?
Yeah, I was up to like 3 or 4 in the morning last night. I've lost track of time. It happens when I'm on vacation. I'm not actually going anywhere. I don't have any. Well, tomorrow I'm going to a winery to do some writing.
Nice.
Get myself a bottle of wine and sit outside with my my iPad. But and I'll probably do it via motorcycle. But I still have a tendency to get up on weekend hours, which is anywhere between 10 and 10:30. So
I just looked at my vacation accumulation last week, and I'm at like 94 hours.
well, that's cool.
So.
Yeah, I used to be in user lose, but I think I have 3 weeks. Still have 3 weeks. We're allowed to carry over 6 weeks from year to year. Because of my longevity, I accrue every pay period. I accrue 8 hours, so I basically get 2 vacation days a month.
Yeah, I think it's 4.6 hours per pay period I get because I've only been there for not even 18 months yet. But we're allowed to carry over 150 hours. We don't accumulate any. Once we had 150 hours, we don't accumulate anymore.
Okay. No, we would accumulate. So I could accumulate 500 hours.
Oh goddamn!
You know, whatever.
Sick time, I think we can accumulate indefinitely.
Yeah, likewise. I have somewhere up of like 10 months of sick time.
Jeez, I use it all. I use mine all the time. Like, I'm gonna be late for work. I'm not going in. Sick day.
You know, lately I've been doing that, especially since the Kung flu. But I can use that towards my my retirement.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It was my handyman who's been working on my bathtub.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, we thought it was a breaking story. Like Sideshow Bob was at Diddy's.
No, I think he's too asexual for that shit. But I mean,
doesn't matter. He'd probably fit right in.
Well, to be fair, he's got the kid. He's got the offspring.
That's a beard.
Yeah. Man, speaking of which, not to get political, but did you guys watch the? I didn't watch the debate last night, but
I watched most of it.
I watched some of the clips, and man, like that Tim Walz guy, like what the fuck? Like he's such a weirdo.
He's a MiG-15.
Yep, he's ready to flutter himself out the window.
You know, I've seen people give JD Lance shit for various stuff. I'm like, dude, he grew up in like a very. I was reading about some of the stuff. Like, he grew up in a very dysfunctional Appalachian family environment. Like, the fact that he's married with kids and he hasn't slaughtered a whole bunch of people in some mass murder is probably a sign of like his, you know, he's normal. You know,
it's testament to his mental health. Yeah.
Yes, it's testament. The fact that he didn't go insane. Because I mean, his mom like tried to do a mass family murder suicide type thing.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like I had no idea. But I'm like,
I remember him mentioning his being raised by his grandmother several times in the debate.
Yeah, like this is a guy.
Thank God for extended families.
Well, and you know, people are going after him for marrying an Indian. I'm like, look, man, you go through some of that stuff. You cannot relate to ordinary people, and also you're gonna probably have things in your life that you need that, let's be blunt, a lot of modern white women are just not going to provide for you. You know, like she's coming from the Indian woman. She's coming from a background where they have a healthier view of marriage than modern white women, where it's like they're a bunch of, you know, a lot of them are gold digging whores, you know.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely some of that going on in India, but that
I get that, but like I'm just saying, like they understand. They have I would say that they have a healthier understanding of, like, you know, I'm not saying that romance is bad. Obviously, I'm not saying that. I'm just pointing out, like, they understand that women have to bring something to the table and they have to, like, appeal to the man. I'm telling you from what, and you probably, AJ, would see it too. The women today, white women today in the Pacific Northwest, they very much have this attitude of, like, I don't have to do anything. I'm entitled to the best.
Well, like when I was up there, it was referred to as the Seattle cold shoulder or the Pacific Northwest cold shoulder. And I even see it down here in Texas. Like most of the chicks I date now are usually Latina or Asian.
Dude, my the most success I've ever had has been with Latinas and redheads. Redheads I have various theories about that. But with Latinas, like, they kind of have this attitude where they like men and they know how to attract men. The women now, they are like, oh, I have got a career, I have a degree, I make a bunch of money, I'm doing all this shit. It's like I don't. It's very tranny. It's very transgenderish. Of like,
yeah,
you're a man trying to attract another man, but you're in a woman's body.
I noticed that with Latinas down here, a lot of them say they don't want machismo, but that's the only way you got to act with them to get them to do what you want, is you have to be machismo.
It's funny how I remember a guy who married a Mexican woman. He goes, look, you know, they're looking for a guy who's assertive or dominant, but not like a total piece of shit, you know?
Yeah.
And the problem with a lot of white guys is they're so nice that it frustrates a lot of these women, where they're like, I don't want you to be a ballless sack of shit, but don't be an abusive piece of shit who, like, genuinely is treating, like, you know, being physically abusive, like openly cheating on her and like humiliating her in front of everybody.
They want a dominant guy, but not a domineering guy. Right.
And that's what I noticed, and that's where I felt like I always could be who I want to be without worrying about them like having. I'm sorry, you can be dominant. When I say dominant, I mean like in a healthy way. With, in my experience, redheads and Latinas, in ways that if you do with brunettes and blonde white women, they will have some sort of psychotic meltdown, and I don't know what it is. I just find it interesting where look, women are crazy. All women are crazy, but like, I've never seen a redhead or a Latina go mentally ill. I just haven't seen it.
The thing with the redheads is they're already mentally ill. They've just been doing it their entire life, and they know how to hide it. Ask me how I know.
I have a theory of like redheads know that they're not at the top of the hierarchy of like what's considered attractive, so they feel like they actually have to outcompete brunettes and blondes. They know that they're not the ideal, and they also tend to wear their emotions on their sleeves the same way with Latinas. Like they don't hide anything. Like there's nothing repressed. They're exactly it's all out there on the the whatever. So you at least know what you're dealing with. Like if she's angry, she's gonna let you know she's angry. If she's upset, she's gonna let you know she's upset. If she wants to get you naked, she's gonna make that very clear very quickly. I mean,
oh yeah.
Vincent and I were in Kansas City, and we had a waitress who was Latina, and I mean, yes, Vince could tell the whole story, but like she came right up to me and just looked at me and like I gave me that look of like, oh, like there was no ambiguity about how she felt, Whereas with blondes and brunettes, they can give off the same vibe, but the moment you like try to touch their hand, like, why did you touch me? I didn't give you permission.
How dare you?
Yes, how dare no, dude, I'm not joking. I've dealt with that numerous times.
Yeah, I saw it up there quite a few times. The last time I was up there single, which was a 10-month period, about a year before I moved. But yeah, I noticed that a lot. Another thing with like redheads are up there in my book, just because I do carry the redhead gene, obviously, with my beard. Right. It's like I need to save the race. I need to save the redheads.
Yeah, I noticed that with redheads, they feel they are one of the few white women that feel like they have to actually compete for a white man, and actually have to put in the effort. Which because I just that's been my experience. It's just they're the ones who actually will go out of their way for you, and that's when even you're just being. It's just when you're being you and you're not even trying to put an effort into like attracting them. Whereas with blondes and brunettes, I mean, they could be as ugly as Gollum, but for some reason they think that they deserve an Aragon. I'm not joking. Like it's like
I like the analogy though, man. That is a very good analogy.
I'm just like I remember interacting with one girl who was not physically attractive. Like her face wasn't attractive, her haircut wasn't attractive. She's not physically attractive. She doesn't have tits. She doesn't have a nice ass, but she very much had this like, I deserve only the best. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Seriously, like there's been redheads. One redhead I dated years ago. She was as cute as what was the name? Divergent, that film series with one redhead, looked just like her, same body, same face. When I was watching the movie trailer, because I just broken up with her, I thought it was her, and I thought I had just broken up with a Hollywood star, and realized like but the point is like she felt like, and this is back when I was not making a lot of good money, and I was young and didn't have a lot of like
knowledge,
not a lot of confidence. Just didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, and yet she was like trying to get me, and she was very cute, and I feel kind of bad because like now I would have,
Well, the thing is with women, you see the indignation that certain black women have toward black men dating white women, and is the same as the white women getting upset that white guys are dating Asian women or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. They want what they want and think they're entitled to everything, and and truth be told, most of them get it in some form or another, and even those who get exactly the perfect guy will still step out on him if somebody else comes along that, who can be a complete deadbeat loser. But if he makes her tingle in the right spot, then she'll cheat on that perfect Prince Charming. It's just how it is. And a woman, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Legend with Tom Cruise, which is also another fantasy film from the 80s. But there is a swamp witch hag creature played by Robert Picardo, of all people, called Meg Mucklebones. I knew a woman who looked exactly like Meg Mucklebones, except she, had pale skin. She wasn't obviously a green swamp witch, but the deformed ears, the nose, the wrinkle, ugly, haggy, toothy, missing tooth face, similar voice. I mean, this woman looked like this little shriveled, wicked swamp witch thing. Guess what? She still got married. She still found a guy who would marry her. And it's how it is. Our guys will, and her husband was, I think we could easily call a stereotypical gamer. He was probably around 6 foot tall, maybe 5'11". He had long, kind of dirty hair, and he had the full beard, facial hair, and he definitely was overweight. But it would not take much for this dude to clean up and be halfway decent. And even as bad as he was, in the shape he was when he married this woman, he still could have done better. He still should have done better. But
look at was it Lana Del Rey, her new husband?
I gotta
say,
an
alligator tamer.
I gotta say though, she's.
10 years ago, she wouldn't have been with him.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not just how you start the race; it's how you finish it. Mm-hmm. Like he married her, but I'm trying to think of how to put this best. How much sex do they actually have? And it's not that I obsess over this stuff, but I'm like asking the honest question. Like, this is just my very cynical opinion of like, she married him. That means she's not going to have sex with him. I'm not saying that that's the case with this guy. I'm not trying to like make presumptions, but just where, I think, and the reality is like you can probably tell by the way that they behave around them, or the way that they, like their photos or whatever. I'm not saying.
Do the green line test.
Let's say what?
Do the green line test.
I think it's I think it's actually more of like, how's the guy responding, and also is in the photos, is the girl looking at the guy or at the camera? Because like if the girl's looking at the guy and her arms she's just like completely around him, and he's kind of like, yeah, this is great, married a redhead, but they latch on hard. Yes, dude, Mictobus, you're this is one of the things I really regret is I ran into a couple of ride or die girls, and I didn't realize it at the time. Like, these girls would have gone through hell or high water for me.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it sucks. It sucks, like, looking back and like, man, it's kind of like almost you were able to buy a house in Seattle in 2012, and you're like, yeah, but it's small, and I don't really want to deal with the old problems. And then that house went from like $200,000 to like 1.8 million.
Yeah. So I think I sold my house for in 2019 up there in East Bremerton for undervalue. It's still decent. I still got a decent chunk of change for like $215,000. I bought it for $175 and 13. It right now I think is like $500,000. In East Bremerton.
Yeah,
that's
that's
that's kind of my for the bus.
Yeah. I've told other guys, like, look, the first redhead I'm meeting who kind of gives off that vibe. I'm obviously not going to say I'm going to marry her, but like, I'm going to appreciate what I see better than back before, where, I had one redhead in college where barely knew her, and I was sick, and she wanted to bring over like chicken noodle soup that she had made.
What's the problem?
there was no problem. The problem is I just was like freaking out because I'm like, I wasn't used to, sorry, like you're 19 years old. You don't know, like, you don't understand. You're like confused. Like, what does this mean? What's going on?
I knew exactly what that meant when I was 19.
Yeah, same here. And the thing is,
no
TJ's
confusion.
talking about the regrets he has, and it's like, you know, we've got Vince and I have like decades more, you know, potential regrets. I look back and it's like, yeah, I could have had that first threesome in high school. What the hell was I thinking? But you know, it's
yeah. Well, there was. I mean, I'm just saying, like, where I'm just saying, like, I guess the point I'm trying to say is these girls, because I know the difference between a girl who's being like mercenary and a girl who's being like she genuinely likes you, and that was the kind of the thing that bothers me is like these girls. Some of these girls, including the one I just mentioned, she actually genuinely liked me, you know, and that kind of bothers me where you think, you look back and you're like, I could have been with a girl, ended up with a girl who it's not just like they want to, you know, hook up with you, but like they actually like, there's genuine affection, I guess is the point.
Yeah.
You know, because I've dealt with girls where they're like, they're it's very superficial in their attraction to you. Like they look at you as a source of validation, but they're not gonna like clean your house for you. Like this girl probably would have, if we were still, if things had turned out where we ended up together, this girl would have probably cleaned my house for me without me even asking. She would have just done it because she loves like making me happy, you know? Like that's the thing. A girl, you know, and I see this so rare now where there's a girl who you meet who genuinely likes to do things that makes you happy.
Yeah.
I see that so little now. And I see girls now who are infinitely less attractive in every way possible, acting like they're entitled to a guy like myself. And I'm like, you're like the kid who just graduated from high school and you're expecting $150,000 a year in salary, just and pension and the benefits and all this shit. And it's like, I'm sorry, you gotta put your own work in around here. Anyways.
Yeah, I think like I'm in the similar shoes as you because we're about the same age within a couple years, and like you can see the generational difference between like Vince and Robert and then us two. It's like we weren't like I would say like our generation has to deal with a little bit more hoflation than say their generation does, and then like the Zoomers and the Alphas have to deal with even more hoflation.
But they weren't. I think the Zoomers and the whatever the generation after them,
Alpha.
They were Alpha. I don't think that they were lied to. This is where, man, do you want to talk about an intergenerational war? I will fight this. Where millennials were sold the worst bullshit of
I agree.
Generation, because Gen Xers actually got a chance to just do whatever they wanted, and they did get a taste of like the old country. But by the time we got to college, it was all going out the door. And you know, it's like being trained for a war where the tactics have completely changed because of technology. It's, you know, it's like being sent into World War I with cavalry and there's machine guns. Like, what the fuck do you want us to do? You know? Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Like Gen X were what I call the feral generation. Like everyone forgets about them. They did their own thing. Yeah. They're a bunch of hard asses and I love them.
But like with Zoomers and the Gen Alpha, whatever, they're not. The internet and all the stuff that's going on, like there's no confusion about where they stand. And this is why when people talk about how they don't want to work or they don't have a good work ethic, because nobody's lying to them. Like millennials went out there thinking they were going to take on the world, and it took 20 years for them to finally realize like there's no hope. It was all bullshit. Everything was lies. Like, yeah. You know, I'm dealing with that with boomer members of my family. We're like, they finally understand, like, dude, you burned the oil field of every last drop of oil in my soul. You can't fool me anymore. Like, you not only ate the carrot that was on the stick, you broke the stick and shoved it up your ass. Like, there's no carrot and stick left.
Yeah. I'll be right back, guys. My dog wants out. She's being a little pain.
No worries.
I can relate.
I don't have that problem. It's a good problem to have, but I don't have that problem. Yeah, I'd gone back and watched the Masculine Geek number 49. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was the one where he had Jack on. That's where
Dude,
he,
I just
that was a good episode.
A Masculine Geek coffee book of like top sayings, like or quips or wits or whatever. I think that actually would sell pretty well because it's a book, it's a coffee book you can have on your table, and it's full of just like Aaron, you're taller than you should be.
You're taller than you need to be. Yes,
you're taller than you should be, or something like really witty. And the problem is you have to go back and watch a lot of the episodes.
Well, I'd probably go on Fiverr or some shit and hire 5 different people.
Oh, dude,
get them on a Zoom. Get them on a Zoom call. Describe the project and say, split up these episodes and give them access to it. Split up these episodes as best you can over the next 3 or 4 months, and pull out sayings that, to your mind, sound funny.
Somebody who has no knowledge of Masculine Geek, like, does this make you laugh?
Yeah, exactly. Parts where you laughed out loud that could be turned into an anecdote, like a paragraph anecdote, pull those out.
Aaron Clary is gay.
Aaron Clary is gay. That'll be the subtitle of the actual title of the book.
I mean, I have no idea how big.
I know Mictobus is waiting for the coloring book to come out. So.
I don't know how big his custom house is. But that's something I've thought about where I'm like, if I'm gonna retire or if I'm gonna have my dream house built, especially with Aaron, like, sorry, man, my house is gonna be a small house. It's gonna be like probably 900 square feet. Because you're a childless bachelor, you don't need a ton of space, especially I don't. I'm not.
I need garage space. That's my thing because I have 3 vehicles right now and possibly
that's what I miss.
Tax season.
See,
that's what I miss. I agree with you, AJ.
I'll have a garage or something like that, but like I don't because I'm just not. It's not that I can't do this stuff. It's that I don't enjoy working on like those kind of projects. I just
non-stop house projects.
Dude, I grew up in a perpetual construction zone. Like it just awakens too many childhood.
Oh,
look,
yeah.
Look, I love Aaron Clary. He's a good friend. Aaron will never not have, and this is a metaphor. Aaron will never not have a house project to work on. Knowing what we know of Aaron, Mr. What's the itinerary? Aaron will always have a project to work on.
Yes,
and that's fine. That's his temperament. That's his nature, and that's how he moves forward in life. That's his path. For myself, and it sounds like you as well, TJ, we can't do that. That's not a temperament to do.
So my thought is to have, my dream is to have an A-frame house or cabin where it's got a porch and it's got a view of something beautiful scenery year round, and then my study. There's things that it has to have. It has to have a fireplace.
Fireplace and a good view.
And a good view with French doors, and it's got to have a bookshelf. But like, I got to be able to go in there and just like relax. And it's funny how like I always think of Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales. AJ, you probably watched this.
I love this shit out of old DuckTales, man.
Dude,
DuckTales
like
is awesome.
His study, I always think of that. I haven't watched some of those in like 30 years, but like
Scrooge
his
McDuck study.
Yeah. The Scrooge McDuck study where he's just sitting there like that. It just felt like this sense of like, I don't know. Like I remember that's kind of shaped my view of like studies where he went into a place where it was his space, his stuff. He had a fireplace going, and I always wanted that. And it's sad. Like I talked to relatives of mine about this stuff. I'm like, oh, you don't want this and you don't want that. I'm like, great. I can't talk about it with you guys,
Yeah.
but yeah, I always thought that those studies, and they have them on YouTube with like, I'm trying to think of oh, come on, you bastard. Like this right here, the background photo is like that is my study.
It's like right now, like the houses I'm looking at trying to rent. Like I look for the fireplace, I look at how the fireplace is oriented. I'm like, do I want to set the streaming near the fireplace, or do I want to set the TV up at the fireplace? Because most places I'm looking at have a den and the living room.
My retirement home will have a fireplace. Now, my living room here, it has there's a chimney and a fireplace. Yes.
Ooh, yeah, totally would do that.
That is my sanctuary.
I like the old rolled steel pipe for the chimney.
Yeah, that was actually my my old house, but we ended up covering it up with river rock, so we made it look. In fact, I can show you because 1 second.
So another thing I need to start looking at once I'm out of this place and I get a place to myself that's for myself, not for anybody else. Like start looking at more and more wall art. Like I would love to get the thumbnail in the background. I would love to get that thing framed and put up in my house.
So this was
yeah, it's quite expensive.
This was my my old house. So I had that fireplace added.
Hang on, let me share it. Share screen.
Ooh. Very rustic.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool. Remember, you put the trains on the top too.
They painted they removed all the shelving, and then they painted over the paneling. Because I can show you. 1 second. 1 second. God damn it. Oh, they took it off. Interesting. They were trying to sell it, and they didn't succeed. So they went back to the old photos of when I was trying to sell it. Yeah. This was sorry, 1 second. That was when I owned it. Like that's what it looked like. But that was I had that added, the fireplace. So
yeah, remember when you and I think you and your cousin were building it?
yeah, it was.
I like that rock layout. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I had so many. So the hearth at the bottom, I put myself, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I kind of miss it because it was really cool, but I sold it in 2021 when it was 3% interest, and I sold it at its like zenith. Like when it was at its. They were trying to sell it for a lot more, and it just didn't happen. So, yeah, it's interesting how.
Indeed.
Indeed.
All right, gentlemen, we're coming up on the hour mark. That's usually our cue, unless we're
Half hour.
playing D&D.
When is the next D&D game?
I want to get Drew back in the mix, especially now that he's done with his bodybuilding competitions, and he's mentioned as such that the next from when he said so, like a week or so ago, that at that point until the end of the year, he's free. So I want to get back into playing his game. So I will, in fact, probably as soon as we're done here, I'll jump into our thread and see
All right.
Hopefully get something up for next Wednesday. I think that would be good.
Yeah. So, like I said in one of the chats, like I'm good on all of them. Just the let me look at the calendar here. So is today Wednesday? So next week is I work, and then 2 weeks I'm off, and then 3 weeks I'm back to work. But I have my laptop with me. I can bring it with me to work, so I can still play.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I asked if he was good for the 23rd of October, and he said that should work. If not, I'll know by the first week of October.
Yeah.
So, so our next game with Drew will be the 23rd.
And our next game is Rollo.
Yeah, and I'll see if Rollo wants to do next week.
Okay.
Which is the
9th.
Or yeah, you're right, the 9th. I'll see if he didn't answer my last.
I'm still curious if Rollo and Drew were metagaming behind the scenes, and that's why Drew was acting the way he was.
It's possible. I mean, it's possible that they reached out, like Rollo reached out to Drew and said, "Hey,"
because he got feared right before we entered that city during the big boss fight.
He did, yeah.
Wonder if he's cursed.
He might be. We'll have to.
It's either that or he's just fucking all the supplements and hunger,
right?
Making him hangry.
So I asked him. I said, and I tagged him. Rational Mail, what's good for October's game? He didn't respond to that, but he did send us all a meme. So there you go. And I don't think he ever. That's pretty much par for the course, Raw. He's got so much going on, he has no idea what the hell he's doing from day to day. So I will go ahead and get that thread in the MG AD&D Rollo campaign Twitter group. Oh Lord, like herding cats, you fuckers. All right, anyway,
I try to make it easy on you, man.
No, you do. I appreciate all the shout outs. I appreciate all the reposts and whatnot. It does not go unnoticed. Trust me.
Helping more out.
Exactly. When you guys come out to the Battlefield Gathering in November, I have money for both of you.
Don't worry about it, man.
No. You, at the very least, you're getting 5 that Mike Steele had sent us all, and you were in. You've been part of the D&D groups and part of a few other things. So, as a courtesy and as a respect, don't argue with me. Because the disbursements come out from YouTube every $100. So.
Okay.
We had gotten a disbursement not too long ago, and I've been have set aside because I knew we'd be meeting up. Roberts, I'll just send via PayPal, but I'll give you guys cold hard cash.
All right.
Don't argue with me.
And like I already showed you, Vince, you're in the acknowledgments of the book, and TJ and Robert are mentioned in the book as well.
Cool. Appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers. Yes. All right. So this has been. Everyone watching later, thank you for doing so, and thank you for being a part of Masculine Geek channel membership. And then Mictobus, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. This has basically been your show, for the most part. But yeah, you too, Mictobus. And so next week, hopefully Rollo's game, but definitely Drew's game. Well, semi-definitely on the 23rd of October. Towards the end, so I'll keep everyone in the loop, and we'll make sure everyone knows what's going on.
Congratulations to Drew for his second place finish, I think it was.
Yeah, that was good news. That was really cool. So I know he likes to do those things. About time I got some. I know, right? You got your own private MG show. You're here live in the chats. That's cool. Good for you, sir. And thank you for joining. I appreciate it. All right, so let's go over here. TJ, you want to take us all out?
Hey, guys, keep the fires burning. Keep the wine flowing. Keep the lead shooting down range. Don't take anyone nickels. Don't drink all the rum. Tune in to next week's episode. And don't be gay like Aaron Clary.
Don't be a MiG-15.
Yeah, don't be a PDF.
Don't be a huge fag. All right. All right, everyone. We'll see. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll see you next Wednesday.